of grades in the back. High honors.
Oh, wow, that's excellent.
She does good.
Yeah.
It's cold out.
Didn't her mom kill it?
Okay,
And with all
I'd like to
this
call this meeting to order.
involvement,
First, we need to stand to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence for all those who have served and are serving for our country. Okay, any adjustments to the agenda?
I just have a couple of reports I want to add.
Okay. We'll do them underneath.
Reports would be good.
What's that?
We can do it anywhere, it doesn't matter.
Do it underneath, just before the job description, maybe?
Yeah, that's
Or
fine.
just after?
Yeah, right there's good.
So 8A.
Yeah.
Bill, you're gonna have me in for one thing too?
Yeah, and Dan has one thing, we'll go with that too.
So 8B, you want to do 8A for you and 8B for you, or 8A for you, 8B for you?
Which
Fine with me.
Okay, we'll go you first.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then we'll do 8B would be reports.
Got it.
Next time I write down the changes of mine.
Right, changed his mind, just like that, Sheridan did.
Wait, that's it. Approval of the minutes from January 7th, 2020.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented to us.
I'll second that.
Motion approved in the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Public comment at this time. Anybody have anything they'd like to say? Craig, I think you said something about you
I
wanted.
just, I gotta go here pretty quick. I just don't, is there any questions you got for me as far as the cafeteria upgrade, what's going on out there? I can offer whatever information I have if anybody's any questions.
Well, I was hoping, is Lee coming tonight?
Lee's sick.
Lee stopped in this morning and told me, that was at 5:30, 5:45, that, and he was pretty sick, and he said he didn't make it till 3:30. He'd be lucky if he made it that long. And he was gonna ask if Jamie Mahoney could be here. He was the next cog in the wheel. He's up here, right above Lee. And I don't know where it happened, but
Yeah.
Jamie is, I don't know where he would be, no idea.
So are we on schedule, everything good, or?
Schedule-wise, yes.
Yeah.
You,
Money-wise, though, no.
Money-wise, no.
We're
What are we missing?
$1.2 million more than what we.
Cost of construction.
well, we're a little
That's
less than
fine.
that. As of today, and I was gonna do that in my reports, but that's okay. We're down to 2830 with 200,000 in question.
2 million?
Correct.
So we're up 400,000 now than what we had discussed, right? Because the town voted for $1.6 million.
Yeah, you are,
We're over 2 million right now.
right.
I still have a lot of concerns on that, and that's why I just wanted on record again this week. I've been asking for the last 4 months for all new people here, for this gentleman, Lee Guy, to come in so we can get some information on that. And for some reason, he has not been coming in. I can understand being sick, but I don't know the understanding behind why he hasn't been coming in here for 4 months.
Well, they've only been out
I just
here-
want to have my concerns out there right now, that that's where we stand. This town cannot afford, with everything going on in this town, for this project to be over budget. That was one of the concerns we had at the very beginning when we voted this in. That's one of the concerns why we hired a project manager. And I'd like to know why all of a sudden, the sudden change. I just
So-
wanted that on record right now.
From the day-to-day stuff, I see Lee at least every other day, if not every day when he's here. They're gonna be pouring cement this week. They're gonna be working on the footing. They probably got 2 or 3 more weeks cement work before the building starts going to play. Obviously burning a lot of fuel out there, trying to keep everything heated up in the tents. But that's where we're at. So that's what I can tell you on the day-to-day stuff. As far as the financial stuff, that's,
Well, we see the emails from the day that.
yeah, and you
every
guys
day,
have kept up to
every day.
date. He's very good at doing that and copying you guys in, so.
But we still have
but he's not good at copying the financial part, so,
That's above his pay grade.
yeah. But we have a project manager, right?
Right.
And what's his name?
Well, Nixon O'Day is the
The project
project
Yeah.
manager.
So where have things gone wrong? We,
Well, I think the things went wrong, basically, that it was underestimated at the beginning. When they went out to bids, the bids came in significantly different. The process now is to try to reduce those costs going across. They grew fairly well, reducing about $700,000 at this point from where we started. And we're still working it down. I met today for about 2.5 hours with them in their office in Brewer, and again brought more questions forward about pricing and why things went the direction they went, specifically the in-house construction and the groundwork were the two areas that were the largest increases.
So, just so you guys were, I've spoken to Bill about this many times, you know, I'm that local guy who keeps the lights on, fixes the plumbing, this and that, but if I would've stuck my nose in and started asking questions, we would've had a building with a septic tank inside the floor in the building, and then had to buy pumps to pump the sewer down to the school. So 6 months later, we've got a hole in the ground. I started asking questions why we can't just, and I will say, with Carlton's help, we talked about it, about running the sewer to the Pound Street. It's downhill. We got brand new sewer lines. So now we don't have a septic tank going in. It's gonna be pumped out, it's gonna be drained down, gravity fed, put the grease trap out back, everybody's happy, save a lot of money. But I'm telling you, I'm not the guy that should be making these decisions. And
Well, that's why we're paying the project managers to make
Yeah.
those decisions and
So-
to keep on par with what we have to
Yep.
spend.
So there's legitimate questions is what's happened leading up to this, but this is where we are right now. I specifically have asked Lee numerous times if he sees anything that can save us money, that's quality, let us know, because this is what he does for a living. He has brought up a couple of things to me. Bill has been to a meeting which he's gonna fill you in long after I'm gone, that he's come up with savings today. But we all need to be on the same page as to where we are financially. That's all.
We
And
do.
If you
This
guys don't.
town needs to be aware that this is stuff is going on, and we need to, because honestly and truthfully, we have a lot of projects in this town that are going on, and it's really costing this town a lot of money. And there's just not a lot of people in here in this town anymore like there used to be. They're all retired on a fixed income. That's the conversation we had when we tried to get this new school in, and that was why it got turned down, so. I have a lot of concerns, and for 4 months I've been asking for somebody to come in, and nobody's been coming in. And I think, Craig, you've been to every single meeting, and I'm almost positive I've asked every single meeting, when is he coming in? And still to no avail. I don't know why. I just can't figure out why that is. I don't know if it's a lack of communication or what. I have a lot of concerns on that to start with. And it ends tonight, plain and simple.
if we budgeted for 1.6 and we're over 2 million, we need somebody here to talk to. And we're in a mess now, so.
We're not in a total mess.
Well,
Some of the.
we're
some-
where we wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Some of the construction projects come in under, some will come over. High school roof came in under, elementary roof went significantly over because of the construction inside the roof that was not determined.
I don't think
Windows
we're
went
talking
over
about
slightly.
that. I
What?
think we're just talking about the school per se.
We're talking about the entire budget. We're talking about 5.3 million, Jamie.
Yeah,
To do these projects.
Yeah.
Some are gonna be over, some are gonna be under.
well, we were aware of that much, but this project here was estimated at 1.6 million.
And
And
as I said,
before,
some are gonna be over, Jamie, some are gonna be under.
and I understand that, but before you go and sit there and say it was just a little bit over for this, 1.6 million, okay? And before we talked about this last week, what was the value? You said it was gonna be around 2.8 million, okay? That's $1.2 million over budget just for this project here.
That's right.
There's a problem there, okay? I can understand some stuff being under and over, but not $1.2 million over. There's no way.
The best way for me to have someone come in would be to have Nickerson today themselves come in and explain.
I'd say
that.
somebody needs to come in, because we've been 4 months asking for somebody to come in, and every time I come into these meetings, nobody's here for 'em.
And Jamie,
You've said you've made it arrangements for Lee to come in.
Yeah.
Each time I come in and ask, oh, I forgot to put it on the agenda, or something to that effect in the last 3 months.
no, not the last three, Jamie, I can go back and show you.
You don't write all the things in your minutes, but I can guarantee you, I can find out on that tape. And I can go back to when we gave Nickerson O'Day the bid,
Go back.
and I asked then, are we gonna have somebody, our project manager, gonna be coming in to fill us in once a month or something to that effect? You said yes, and since we've given that contract out, yet nobody's come in for nothing. And we would not have been aware of this whole predicament that we're in right now unless Craig had mentioned it at our meeting 2 weeks ago. We were not aware that it was over that much budget. Were we or were we not? Were we aware, or did you make us aware at any such time before Craig brought it up? No.
Until that budget's finalized, I can't tell you exactly where we're gonna end up.
You knew where the numbers were running in though, right?
And we continue.
And
to
they were
use
all
it.
running over.
And
Did anybody on this board know?
No,
Did
not
he?
until 2 weeks ago.
I think he knew, yes.
So how did he know? And we didn't know.
Because he's been slightly involved from a
Yeah.
different angle.
I understand that, but this kind of money, don't you think somebody should have been a little bit more, a little bit more communication? I mean, if we're not gonna communicate, then,
Well, that's why
What are we
I'm
doing?
sending out those reports on a regular basis.
but that's not this report.
Well, and again, it's not over until somebody sings, I
I
guess.
understand that, but that's putting us in an area where we don't wanna be.
And I've reported to you where we've been under and over on the other projects.
Yep.
When we get this one finalized for pricing, which is still happening,
So how about we make it happen this time and we have somebody come in, the next meeting?
I'll contact.
If he's sick,
Carl.
then get the guy below him. If
Oh,
he's
no.
sick, get the guy below him. But we have to have somebody here because
there's-
talking to you isn't getting anything done. We wanna talk to them. We wanna see what's happened and what's going wrong.
Well, there isn't anybody below on-site guy.
Well, evidently we don't need him. So maybe you're starting to look for somebody else.
Either be Hildebrand or Carl himself.
Because if he isn't
Anyway, I know
gonna,
you
if he
guys
isn't
are on
gonna talk
public
to us,
comments,
then.
you got anything for me, any information you got? I mean, Bill's got all my information too, but if, I'm here the day-to-day thing.
Well, I
Any
had questions here to ask Lee or whoever showed up, but those questions can't be answered
I-
tonight because nobody's here.
A
so.
lot of those questions I can't, I
And
don't
I
have the time
can't,
to be out here talking
you
to
know.
him. You guys have nothing for me then?
Anybody else have anything? Is that everything for public comment? Does anybody else have any other?
So,
Jerry?
so this contract was put out for $1.6 million, and that was in what, April or May?
Oh, before that probably even.
When did we actually finalize that? Was it in April roughly that we had actually picked that we picked a final bid for O'Day?
Trying to think when we interviewed, Jamie, I'd have to look back, but
I thought it was February.
I'm gonna say it was February, I thought when we were interviewing, but that's beside the point.
I'm pretty sure it was February when you were interviewing and it was finalized somewhere around April.
But the project didn't get started till March or April to do, actually, the project didn't get started till October or so, 6 months later.
So we had a contract for $1.6 million with an over expenditure of $400,000 one way or another, so that made it up to $2,000. And now in 3 or 4 short months' time, we're already up over the $400,000, so what's gonna happen when we go another 4 months?
Well, at this point here, we're hoping that having to speak to this gentleman coming in for our next meeting, and I won't be here for that, I'll be out of town, so. And that's my other concern tonight, was the fact that I knew I wasn't gonna be here for the next meeting, so.
Still public.
Yeah.
In fairness to Bill, actually Bill brought it to you at the last meeting and Craig just reiterated what he said, so Bill did bring that to you, that information to you. But I just wanna get that out there. Craig didn't just say, hey, guess what? He just reiterated what Bill presented. I just wanna put that out there.
The bottom line was,
Oh, I'm not
way
arguing,
over budget,
not not
And
arguing
it's
that.
been over budget for a while, and none of us on the school board's been aware of it, plain and simple. And to sit there and think that we have is not the case.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying, I'm just saying.
So, to answer your question, Jerry, I'm just,
Last meeting, he brought it up.
yeah. That's when we found out about it. I was not aware of nothing until he mentioned it and Craig mentioned it at that time, at that last meeting.
So unless you have your hands in on it, like he does, and has a,
Well, I understand that there's still bidding going on
Right.
parts of these projects. It's not.
I
it's
understand
not a
that, but this
final
should have been
project.
reported to us. There's no way it shouldn't have been. I mean,
What-
how
what's-
you can justify not reporting to us.
What you're in for at this point, the only contract got signed is the upfront, $985,000,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, but when we're asked out on the street, how's things going? Oh, they're going great.
Well,
But they're really not going that great because we're sliding the other way. So, but if we know that, then,
Well, you're sliding the other way on this and you're under on others, and in the end, we're gonna do all of what we can do, and the priorities were the windows and things at the elementary school, the roads, the addition.
I'm
and the
not having
boilers.
no arguments whatsoever with anything we've done so far on any other project in these schools. I know for a fact it's a huge difference savings over there in them, in them rooms at the elementary school. Every teacher over there that I've spoke to over there said they absolutely are amazed at how warm it is in their rooms, how everything's gone so far. That I'm not questioning at all. I see everything going on fine over there. What I have a problem is with this cafeteria, plain and simple, bottom line.
Jamie, it's construction and you're on the end of the world. Getting contractors here is not what was expected to start with, nor was the price
But
of steel or anything else going up.
they had somewhat of somebody had somewhat of an idea, okay? We can't just come up with the top of our head going, boom, $1.6 million, that's how it's gonna be. Yeah, we'll do that. They must have had to look into somewhere to get them figures somehow.
And the best one to talk to.
And
with
who was that?
Would be the architect.
Steve Black.
I mean, I thought he had it all figured out. We paid him some damn good money to figure
You're right,
this
we
out.
have.
I mean, a lot of money.
Well, not as much as you think, but he paid a lot, yeah.
But what's not a lot to you, Bill?
Well, when you're looking at a project of $5 million, you're looking at a percentage base.
Yeah.
For the architect, it's gonna be a significant number.
That's right. So, we shouldn't be too far out of bounds with him, because he's a professional at what he does. And usually when you're a professional at what you do, and you've been doing it for years, you
Usually
come
you're
up
pretty close. Yeah, I get you.
usually pretty
Yeah.
damn close, yeah. Which we are.
John, I'm not arguing with you,
No.
let me tell you. And
It's just frustrating, that's all.
Well.
But hopefully,
it's frustrating on all sides, believe me.
yeah. And I don't think the town's even aware of it. Well, they should be aware of it now.
Well, they're aware of it now.
Oh,
With Craig on the.
You have a meeting with them tomorrow, right?
Yes, and I've had a meeting with the town manager before.
Well, right.
So did someone answer your question, Jerry? On what we have?
Well, I
rough
guess I
idea?
still don't understand where we're gonna end up after another 4 months. And it's up over the 2,000, that'll be up.
Well,
So, these taxpayers here in the town of Baileyville are gonna get taxed unreal. I mean, they only voted for $1.6 million.
Well,
And they were led to believe that's what it was gonna cost you to build this.
they voted for a bond for 5.188 million. We have 5.11188, 164 and change, to provide these projects to the level that we can provide them.
and
When the
one,
board sat down, they had priorities. The number one priority actually was the cafeteria in reality. The windows and improvements to the elementary school were at the top of the list. The roofs were at the top of the list.
yeah,
And then the heating system was next on the list as we complete that. Our plan is to get through that. Then beyond that, we had the exterior of this building, we had lighting in this building, and some of that, based upon the price that was estimated by the contractor, we can do it locally for a lot less. So I'd rather do that separately, quite honestly, and Craig left already, and I think probably somebody else sitting in the room who knows what those prices were, and it was triple what I would expect to expend for the
So
expansion.
that's why they went back out to bid again. I think a couple times we've actually done that on some of our projects. They come in like way, way over what we had, so.
I don't think the exterior of this building was $600,000, I guess is the best way to put that, and that's what they had for VFI for a
Oh.
cost, and that's not reasonable.
No. Well, I think what he's asking is, at 1.6 million is what we estimated that particular project was.
Portion of that
A portion of that was
5.1 million.
1.6 million
Yeah.
for the cafeteria.
Correct.
That's what the people voted for, right?
And,
No,
well,
they voted for a $5.188 million bond to complete a number of
Everything.
projects. Some of those projects are coming in under, some of them are coming in over. This one's significantly over, but some of it'll be covered by those that were under budgeted. We will be able to get through the cafeteria and the heating system. Beyond that, everything else was actually with some small money for upgrades in the bathrooms, and so on. So, yeah. Is it going to fit within that 5.1 million bond? Yes.
we have to. We got no choice in the matter. Because that's all we have. We're not gonna go to the town to ask
We're
for
not
any more
going for
money.
more money, no.
I'm not, and I'm not about to.
But it just worries me what's gonna be left behind.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we do have some big projects.
Right.
We need
along with
heat, I'll just tell you that, we need heat, we need to fix our heat.
Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, that's number,
It's next on the list and will right now fit under the budget that we've got. And those numbers are still being refined.
okay. Anybody else? Carlton, anybody? Steve, you're way back, being quiet. Why? Okay.
He's usually quiet in school. Believe it or not.
I went to school with him. He really was never that quiet.
Well, he's quiet when I'm around.
Okay, I guess we're on to the next item on the agenda, which is board approval for early graduation for Page Soccer Basin.
Okay, I met with both Paige and her mom and Mr. Ross. Paige has completed all of the requirements for her graduation. She's continued to take college classes, both online and through the college program. Her plans with early graduation next year is to attend the community college for a program in early nursing, and then the following year to go on to University of Maine, where she already has credits to complete her degree in nursing. She is more than well prepared, and is asking for the early graduation so she can get on with her educational program. I support it after meeting with them and looking at her credentials and what she's done so far in accumulating both her high school credits and her college credits as she's gone forward. Basically, she will have completed 2 years of college at the end of next year.
She'll be finishing all the requirements for graduation here at the end of this current school year, basically.
Is she a junior?
Yeah.
This doesn't happen very often though, right?
No, it doesn't happen very often, and I almost wish Paige could be here. If you know her or have met her, you'd understand
I've
that
met her.
she is more than ready to move on.
She and her mother have been pretty diligent about reviewing the board's policy and following that. She's a go-getter. She's a brilliant young kid. We kept her here longer, in my opinion, as good as the school and the teachers are here, would be a detriment to her. She's ready for the next step, and she needs that challenge.
So do you need a motion to
Yes,
Yes.
approve this? I make a motion for the board to approve the early graduation for Page Soccer Basin.
Okay, a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for the board approval of early graduation for Page Soccer Basin. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next one up is first reading of the K policies.
A couple of small changes that Andy has made to KBF, which is the first one, and has to do with the Title II, Title I-A, federal. And basically it's to add the November date and the suggested dates in February and March for parent meetings. That's the only significant minor change. The rest of them are ready as they were presented.
I'd like to request that we pull out the dress code.
Okay.
To go back to the policy, only because I had asked it to go to the school and it hasn't gone to the school and come back to the policy. I mean, I
Okay.
don't see any problem with it, but
I think
just
that's what you
wanted
wanted to do anyway, right?
Yeah, I think, and I was sick that night when the policy committee was reviewing it. The language needs to be tweaked a little bit to apply to my building, and the tweaking would have involved matters that the rest of the policy committee was not aware of at the time. We just don't, the way that it's written, we don't want an uptick in more referrals, so kicking it back to policy for one more go around gives us a chance to tweak the wording that we need.
What needs to be changed, if you don't mind me asking, only because
It's language that applies to the building based on some behavior incidents that we've had here, and I can't, I'm not trying to be evasive, I can't bring up those incidents, because it's a student privacy issue, but it's subtle wording, it's nothing major.
You're on that committee, right?
I was the one, Asa and I were the one who brought the new dress code policy to the policy committee meeting
Oh,
at the last meeting.
I thought he was on it.
I'm not allowed to be on anything because I don't live in town anymore.
Oh.
I'm going to move back on purpose.
So, need a motion to approve KBF, KBF E1, E2, E3, KDA, KL, KEB, KDB, and KLGM. I think I got them all. Did I miss? And the KLGAR, the regulation for it.
make a motion to approve the first reading of the K policies.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion to accept the first reading of all K policies.
Does that include the dress code?
No.
No,
Motion
that's
and a second.
J, that's a J.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, next one is job description.
Okay, in your packet, you have a job description that's been reviewed too by our chief of police, and he agrees with everything on it. Really looking at sort of a stipend position for a resource officer, doing many of the things that are already actually being done, along with a few others. Coordinating and monitoring the safety and security procedures for the Baileyville schools, assistance to building level and district level administrators with respect to development and implement of emergency operations plan, promote character education in tandem with school staff, and not the 3 districts, it should be just here. Change that, I guess.
The beginning
In
of
the
that
district.
sentence says, should that be they? It says the will.
They will, yes,
Okay.
thank you. Typing. At least 5 years of relevant experience. It goes on through the other minimum qualifications. Job functions are the most important part. Positive rapport with students, parents, teachers, staff, alumni, and vendors. Establish criminal safe environment and accident prevention, performing safety audits, employee training, inspections, maintaining open channels of communication, evaluate strengths and challenges of current safety plans, policies, and procedures. Develop safety, security, emergency plans, policies, and procedures in collaboration with the administrative team. Oversee emergency operation plans, evacuation, shelter-in-place, lockdown, medical emergencies, and coordinate first responders. Some of this we've already got plans pretty well in place, but they need to be constantly reviewed because the environment out there seems to be constantly changing. Word I get through the federal government through special releases constantly reminds us of some of those changes and what's happening out there in the world that not everybody is totally always aware of. Plan and direct staff training program related to all areas of school safety based on the needs assessment, respond quickly and calmly to emergency situations, report violations of school rules and legal actions to administrators. Resource officers not responsible for student discipline. They're not the one that's going to discipline students.
They're not the principal,
They're
this is
not
where
the
we're
principal.
going with this.
Exactly, they are not. And establish, maintain cooperative working relationships with local community and first responders, model professionalism, non-discriminatory practices, support philosophy and policies and goals, ensure health, safety, and welfare of students, hold in strict confidence all matters pertaining to the school. Attend community, parent, staff, administrative meetings as needed, manage knowledge of current issues and trends, perform effectively and assertively in situations requiring tact, diplomacy, good judgment, communicate effectively, oral, written form, maintain clear and organized files and records. By being a resource officer, it also lists him as a staff member, which also means he can be a part of meetings, PBT meetings, special ed meetings, and he can actually have access, although it's confidential access, it can't be taken outside the student records when needed.
And I think the thing that isn't written in here are the connections that a resource officer can make with the students and the positive role model that they can have and
I don't see his hours in here either. What's his hours?
I didn't add that. I guess I can sit down with Bob and I can set up his hours, but he's here basically every day in the morning and then again in the afternoon, usually at noontime.
So what brought this on? If
Two
you don't mind
things.
me
One,
asking. Why now?
it's really a position that he's kind of wanted to be in and sort of projected himself into from time to time.
But we got rid of it.
We got rid of it, yeah.
And-
Because originally what it was, and this was on before you were on here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Actually, Mandy, I don't know if you was just a teacher then too,
I
I
was
think.
here.
You were still only a teacher.
I was
I-
a student.
Yeah. I believe the way I understood it was, the grant had run out for the
Yeah, there was
job
you
position.
probably had a COPS grant at one point.
And I
in
think
time.
we had to keep it on or something like that for one more year due to the grant, or 2 years, or whatever the case might be. But once that was up, and we had run into the town where things were going on with the mill, we had to cut positions and so on and so forth across the board, and that was one of the positions we looked at.
Actually, the school, I was here for that, the school said, yes, let's keep it. At that point, the town, we were gonna split it with the town, and the town council said no to their half. That's what happened.
So along the lines,
school
it was
wanted
a
it.
long time ago.
And that was also for a full-time position with all the bennies and stuff here.
Yep.
It's not the same position.
This isn't, this is really a stipend position, it's really a part-time position that's in coordination with the town. They're actually paying part of the cost of the program through the town council.
So who's come up with this?
Um,
The town?
Town did.
Town
Came
wrote this up
forward.
and wanted
I know,
us to.
I wrote that up and
Yeah.
presented to town. The town came forward and said they'd like to do this. It was something that's been going on and they'd like to see some reimbursement for it, I guess, basically.
Why do they want this? I don't know why I'm asking so many questions on this, but this doesn't make sense, I guess.
Well,
It doesn't,
when it came
why does the
forward-
town
Okay.
want to put their hands in the school?
Town doesn't want, I don't think, hands in the school, John. It came forward as a plea from the town that he's doing that, what kind of a job? So I went and wrote the job description. I did that. When asked what kind of a role that would look like, presented it to both the chief and the town, and they all said, town manager said, yeah, as long as chief agrees. Chief went down through it. I actually have a signed copy from him saying that everything's okay. The town approached me and since we're utilizing him, said, would you be willing to provide $300 a month stipend for those services? I said, well, I gotta take that to the board, that's a board decision, I can't make that decision, that's later on.
I guess my
we do
question
that.
is why? And this is,
I think the why is because somebody was looking for an increase, but that's beside the point.
Okay, that's where I'm trying to get to here.
Yeah.
What's going on and how this all come to be. Because we haven't been asking,
And the town's looking for it.
nobody's been asking for this.
Right.
He's been taking it on himself to come in here,
And
whatever
we'd like-
you say he
yeah.
does, mornings, evenings, whatever.
And we'd like to continue that.
Not saying we don't want to, but I'm just,
Yeah.
it's funny how it made it to here.
Well, it was funny how it made it to me, but that's beside the point. And I can't deny that he doesn't put the time in or the effort in, or work with us students both at night and days and weekends and every other time, and attend a lot of the evening events.
That's not what I'm getting
You know, I know.
That's not
I
what
get
I'm
that job.
Yeah.
And we don't pay for it. I mean, in other places where I've been and had a police officer, I've had to pay an hourly rate for that police officer to even be present at basketball games and other events. So, I mean, we've been very lucky to have that service provided to us.
Wasn't it at one time we had to pay for a police officer to be at the basketball games?
Yeah, you did, I'm
That was
sure.
something
You
back in
played
the
an
day we had,
hourly rate.
that we don't have no more.
A lot of towns do that, I think all kinds of places. I mean, regardless,
Yeah, yes, you
I know how this came about is important to people, but the way I look at
Everything's
it,
locked up, you can't get in, I'll be right down. And
Bob
Sure,
and
you
I,
can't get in.
Security
Oh.
is good.
and I'm sure Mandy and Bob as well, I'm not gonna speak for you, but there's a lot of student issues that we work together on, that sometimes we bump up against the red tape. What he's allowed to tell us, what we're allowed to tell him. And we're kind of, there's a lot of kids in the building that need some extra help. This is not about bringing a police officer into the building to keep track. If I did that, Steve'd be off the board real fast. I'm just kidding, Steve. But it's about having a more meaningful connection. I mean, Bob is here all the time anyway, he gives of his time. This kind of cuts the red tape because to some extent he'd be an employee here in the building and he could be more involved formally in issues that support kids in the building.
So this security person is Bob.
I'm not using him as some people are gonna say
No, Bob
that
is-
we're gonna use Bob as a task force within the building or some absurd thing like that.
No, that's not what I'm
He's,
asking.
no, and I know you're not saying that, but all the idea behind Bob being in the building, at least just speaking for my building, is that it's a more formal relationship, more involvement that he can have to
Can't
support
believe they
kids.
locked the door.
security,
It's working.
I understand all that.
Oh, it locks at
What I'm
6.
asking is, I was going to ask, he's already down one patrolman, I think. Where's he gonna get this person?
Actually, he's not.
Is he up again?
He's got, I believe we're, Steve, could you fill me on this? I think they're back to full capacity now, correct? They're back to full capacity, so he has all his employees that he needs.
Is this just gonna be one of his staff coming in part-time? Is this gonna be Bob coming
It'll be
in
Bob.
part-time?
It'll be Bob.
And so you're just providing a stipend to somewhat defray the cost to the town?
Correct.
Of having Bob coming over here to the school.
absolutely,
Is he also going into the elementary school?
yes. On a regular basis and spends time, the kids love him.
I know that he sleeps on the cafeteria, the gymnasium floor sometimes.
No, not gymnasium, that was preschool.
But none of this has to do with his ability to do his job or whatnot, or if he loves the kids and whatnot.
It's clear.
It's a package that's been put together by the town because they wanna keep him, and now they want us to join in on his salary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was leaving, right? Is this a?
Basically,
Let's
yes.
put it out to the public, so everybody understands just what we're talking about.
That's
all.
what you're talking about. It was presented to me and I'm presenting it to you and it's your,
And it's got nothing against Bob, it's
No.
just, yeah. Was we looking for a resource officer?
And upon that note, at our last meeting, we did discuss that he is looking into grants to have a resource officer here full-time.
yes. There's
Another grant
there's a
up there.
federal COPS program that just came out And so we'll be putting an application together for that program.
But if that does happen, then that'll be,
That would
once that takes place, it could be next year, it could be the year after, who knows?
That'd
But
be next year more than likely under the federal grant.
then this stipends position
Disappears.
disappears.
Correct.
Okay.
As with other grants, we
With that
typically
being
try
said-
to cover costs.
The stipends position, you said it'd be averages up to $300 a month.
Correct.
So we have no school halfway through June, no school in July, and no school in August, and yet we're still paying him $300 a month for those 3 months that he's not in here?
If you were to average it total out, yes. The answer would be correct.
Okay.
But we do have some school going on in June and July.
Yeah, it's summer school, but they're only in here for 3 or 4 hours, and usually Bob's not in here in the summertime seeing them.
I think he stops by, but I couldn't verify that. Yeah. I know he comes by and meets with me, especially when there's an issue going on, even for students who may not be in attendance at that point in time.
Well, the way I look at it, when we see the hours and stuff, I'll vote on them, but I'm not voting on this now, so.
Is it going to be more, well, of course you guys weren't here, so it's hard to say, but like Pat said before, when I was in school and Sean Newell was our resource officer, Sean was here for us, the kids. Like, that's what he was there for. He had a relationship with the kids as far as knowing that we could go to him to talk to him, those different things. It was very rare that he ever had to step into a disciplinary situation.
Shouldn't have.
So, right, I'm just wondering, is that really how it's?
Yes.
Because I know right now, like, Bob will walk up and down the hallway, and if someone has their hood on or whatever, you know, he'll be like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if he was voted in, is this going to be more of a thing where, I think it's great, like, they were just on the news again the other night for motivation that he gives the kids, I get that, and I would prefer if it stayed that kind of way. Steve Knowles does a very good job being assistant principal.
Yeah,
I've
no,
talked
it's
to him a
not-
few
it-
times this
this
year,
isn't
I like, you know.
No, this isn't disciplinary.
Exactly.
Um,
It is stated in this, it says resource officer is not responsible for student discipline.
Yeah, I just wanted to
And
kind
that's
of
one of
reiterate
the, and that's
that.
one of the things I specified at the last meeting was, if we're gonna have him come in on these hours, I wanna make sure that he's doing what he wants to do, and Dan's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Or Mandy's supposed to be doing what she's supposed to be doing. And he's not to interfere with that way, or be used in any other form, shape, or form. That is what I said at the last meeting.
We would use
And I
it-
would not vote it on till I saw this here.
Yeah.
This
And-
isn't even complete, so.
Well, as far as the job description itself,
This is it.
this is what we're looking at. Hours and that can be added and voted on along with whether or not you wanna do it, but what we're looking at this point in time is whether we can approve this kind of job description, whether it's utilized today or 5 years from now with some adjustments maybe, because at that point in time you want to have, or you have a grant for. And then when we do apply for the grant, obviously, this will be a part of the application process for that grant as well. I've gotta lay out what that's gonna look like for the grant.
So we're just looking at the job description.
Only, right
for the
now, it's just
position.
initial approval at least of the job description.
So
As
we
far
haven't
as-
approved the money.
As far as
No.
approving the money or anything else, you're not approving that at this point.
No.
Only the job description. Let me
Yes.
be perfectly clear.
And like any job description, as
As
it goes on, you can
migrates,
tweak,
You tweak
the
it and
needs.
bring it back and, yes.
so.
So this is gonna go up to bid then?
No.
No, it doesn't
So
go to-
it's already done.
No, it's not done either, John. This is
The money's
just,
This is just the.
just the job description.
So
This
for
is what
anybody,
we'd
so
like,
who we-
if we
whoever we
had
get, it's just-
anybody, ABC, anybody, in a position as safety resource officers. This is
I
what
get it,
we would
Bill. I get
want
it.
them
I
to
get
do,
it.
all right?
I get it.
And then, the next step is the direction that we've been asked to go with and share in, is that a direction you wanna go in? That's next on the agenda. All right?
Is it on the agenda?
Yes.
the executive session?
Right. If you're gonna talk about particular people and jobs and things, I'd rather do it in a different format.
Yep. So this is just a general overall,
This is a job description.
I make a motion to accept the job description presented to us for a resource officer.
Sharon's back in, so he takes over, it's your job.
Okay, do we have a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
Now, we'll do eight. A is you.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm really looking for here. You all have a sheet of paper, it has restroom/telephone use at the top. Everything above the line is existing policy that's already in the student handbook. I'm not gonna say that I haven't been enforcing this. I will say that I've been, with discussions with Bill, kind of loosely enforcing this. We wanna give kids the opportunity to be responsible. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is kids come out of class 4, 5, 6 times a day. We're seeing an escalation in bullying, in fighting up in the boys' room in particular. And just going down through this, I mean, they had 6.5, 7 opportunities during the day to use the restroom. My professional opinion, they shouldn't be coming out of class to do this unless there's a medical condition. And we do have some students, and they do use it in good faith, and I'm not looking to hammer down on anybody. I'm not also gonna say that I'm not going to leave it to the teachers to use their discretion. I mean, if someone's dancing, need to go to the bathroom now, we're not gonna keep someone from doing that. We've also increased the amount of time between classes by 2 minutes, we're up to 5 minutes now, should be ample time for someone to use the restroom. Got a half hour for lunch, well, 25 minutes for lunch, including changeover times. You got gym class, you can use it whenever. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity here. I'm just letting you know that, I mean, short of any direction you guys give me tonight, we're just going to not hammering down, we're just gonna enforce. I mean, if you're in class at that time, you're in class. You're not out wandering the hallways 4 or 5 times a day. Just trying to keep the peace.
So the top part is what's in the handbook,
Is what's in the handbook.
and the bottom part
Or just notes that I put.
are just the notes from it.
Yeah, well, no, those are just my notes to you for discussion purposes here tonight. The opportunities of the times that they have available to them to use the restroom, the notes are just the things I just talked about, just clarification. No one's looking to be mean, no one's looking to take anything away. If there's an emergency, we'll accommodate. If there's a medical condition, we'll accommodate. Apart from that, you can stop wandering up to the bathroom, causing trouble, get back to class and learn something, that's it. Pretty straightforward.
Any questions? No?
I brought this up at the policy committee meeting, so people weren't there. I actually talked to Steve Knowles about it a little while ago. In our handbook and in legislature guidelines that I didn't bring with me at this time, we are supposed to be teaching children how to leave this school and be responsible adults. They are supposed to be able to go to college, and they're supposed to be able to go to class, or they're supposed to be able to go to work and know how to act appropriately. In my opinion, we are getting to the point where we are micromanaging our children in high school. And if we micromanage our children in high school, they are going to expect or not know what to do when they graduate high school without being micromanaged. Do I think they should be fighting in the bathroom? Of course I do not think they should be fighting in the bathroom. However, just for instance, I can say it was my child. He had a drink in the classroom, which was allowed, except for it was a Gatorade, so he had to put it away due to somebody knew something about drinking stuff, and it was a Gatorade Zero. He was told if he had an iced tea, he could have it, but he couldn't have Gatorade Zero, which actually has nothing in it compared to iced tea. There are all of these little things. They're just little, and they're little, and they're little. And I can't imagine that their boss or their professor in college is going to stand over them every 10 minutes and tell them what they're supposed to be doing. Just want to put that out
I mean, all that we're doing with that is just enforcing the board's wellness policy is all. I mean, that's, the board hands us policy and says, this is what we want you to enforce, and we enforce it.
there. Right. But I'm sure when the board was thinking of something like Gatorade Zero, if you look at regular Gatorade and Gatorade Zero, the word zero on there seemingly makes sense that there's really nothing in it. So I
And
just-
my response would be, if the board wants it in their policy, we're happy to add it.
As part of policy committee.
Yep.
That's something we can address in policy committee.
An old-fashioned person says, what is he doing in class? Drinking. Okay.
So just, and not Carrie's kid, but there are other kids that, I mean, it might say Gatorade on the bottle. It's not Gatorade what's inside. And we're not, there's no one in there that wants to micromanage kids. I would rather get back to the point where I spend my days looking to improve instruction and create opportunities for kids. I only respond to what's in front of me. To be honest, and Steve's being quiet in the back, I'm not gonna drag him into this too much. We have many other things we'd rather be doing. There's no intent to micromanage anybody in the building.
And we can't be doing everything wrong, because we had 100% graduation rate last year.
Correct.
So,
And that's the teacher's
what we're doing
accomplishment.
is good things. So, once they get out on the street, it's up to them. Either
Hopefully we've
they do
taught
good or
them
they
what's-
don't do good.
Hopefully we've taught them what is acceptable or at least appropriate for behavior. And that's really what we're about.
Because the kids that come in, just where I work, from out of high school, get a rude awakening, you know. And sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't.
I'll just, I mean, to belabor a point, Pat already knows this, and Bill and me, and some other people do too. Whenever you read the research about how to improve instruction, the one that's always perennially at the top of the list,
Have to be there.
to paraphrase, is basically put butts in seats. So if you fix your truancy issue, if you fix tardiness to class, if you fix just people being at the right place at the right time, your scores will go up. And you don't have to spend money on anything, you don't have to buy the newest curriculum from whoever wants to sell you one for 10 grand, it's just simple fixes, and this is one.
We had a lot more population when I was in school here, and we had 3 minutes to pee. These kids can do it in 5. If my old bladder can,
I
theirs
hope so.
can.
In your packet, just as a reminder, something that was asked for was what's the construction schedule look like and where are we? Basically, if you go down to where we are right now, which would be somewhere between 115, and that's basically where we're at. We're getting ready to do foundation walls. They've been doing footings, and you've seen pictures of the footings going in, and you saw probably most recently them setting up the grids for the foundation walls of steel. So those are, and then it'll be the damp proofing insulation backfill of the foundation, and then finally the wall framing, probably at the end of March. So that's where we are, that's the schedule. You can follow the schedule all the way through.
Are these
They're
set
gonna
up,
try
this
to-
is in the order that it's happening?
Correct.
And these are the months across that
Right.
it's supposed to have, okay,
And who and what,
okay.
yeah.
I'm not very good
Yeah.
at reading
But
construction stuff.
It's a nice graph of the construction as it's planned to go forward. And that was one of the things Jamie asked for. We've been reviewing it and updating it and pretty much finalized at this point in time. This is how they're gonna move forward. All right, you know, back quite a while ago, we have a 2009 bus that is, for the most part, at this point, really actually runs, but doesn't run very well and
Very often.
or very often. And last year, VW mitigation covered 2008s and older. This year they covered 2009s and older. And back July, I did an application for the town and for the school department for a bus. And they approved $8 million worth of buses in the mitigation. And so, if you go down about halfway, you'll find Baileyville, AOS 90. Number 2 is just a school bus, diesel, and reduction was 79.1, cost efficiency 0, measure score 10/10, and VW funding request is 78.4. Our match is 20% of that number, or 15.6. The rest is paid for them, so basically, rather than paying $80,000 for a bus, you're gonna pay $15,000 for a bus.
That's the best thing you said all night.
I'm not done yet,
There's more coming.
I want,
I don't know what.
I don't try to totally waste all of my time, but, you also know that way back, there's a revolving renovation fund. I put in a legislative action for an expansion of that. Didn't go through this last year. It's back on the agenda for the legislature again. But during that process, applied for some 7 projects for Baileyville and 1 project for MSAD 30. Of the projects I applied for, 3 of them were funded, 2 of them in Baileyville, 1 in MSAD 30. The amount funded, this is the mold downstairs, in the reactive worm room, we call it, because they seem to come in and getting rid of that problem. And we applied for removing the mold and so on, and we get $220,000. And then the other one that was continued was a fire suppression system, which we decided we don't want to do, was also funded at $780,000. Rather than do that, I'm going to go back and say what we didn't fund, which is also a priority one, was the heating system, and see if I can have that applied across to a separate project rather than the fire suppression system that we now wanted to do.
What are the odds of that?
Oh, I'd say 50-50. They're always pretty good once the money's been set out, allocated. It's a little easier to get things changed around before the allocation. So we're questioning where we're going. That's just short of $1 million.
That's exciting.
So you have the 220 already,
Yes.
and
And actually-
hoping the 780 can be transferred over to the heating upgrades.
Correct. So that's where we're at, just trying to backfill all of those costs.
When the mold remediation form is complete, will that give us more space?
It'll give us another space. What we're looking at doing is moving the special ed office down to that back room as a separate entrance door, and then taking the present space that was a classroom that we put the special ed in and turning it back to a classroom again. Which will gain us a space, a usable space that we don't have right now because that back room is not usable except for some minor storage and a dehumidifier that runs constantly. And that would put special ed kind of all together in one area in the building.
Getting back to the bus, so you can't order it until May 1st, right?
Correct.
And then, but you'll have it for the next school year.
Correct. Yeah, it usually takes 2 or 3 months for it to be built, manufactured, and delivered. I just got the Cooper bus today, and that was ordered back before school started.
Now, does that put us in pretty much
That puts us
newer buses
pretty
or-
much complete. I can look at my past bus person. What do you think, Carlton? What will that do for us?
Well, yeah, because the oldest bus will be 2016, so.
So
So you got
that gives you
16,
about
18, 19.
6 to 8 years of,
Yeah.
of not having to worry about that replacement unless you burn one or crash one or do something else significant. And anything can happen anytime. I'm not making any promises.
A bus is big enough, the deer should just bounce off them.
Yeah, well, we hope. It's other things.
Now I know.
So see, I did have a little bit of
Whoa.
Oh, I got a correction, that's 2012,
12, okay.
Oh,
but that's
Yeah,
still,
there's
that's,
12
still,
out
I
there,
mean, the
number
bus,
12.
I think that's
If you
Still
want to know what the
Yeah.
bus is, if you look at the number on the bus, it'll give you a clue as to what year it was. Because we usually name them by 12 is a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and so on.
Yeah.
Just a unique way of doing things. I think Carlton did that. We tried to follow it. Did you do that, Carlton? No?
bus company just put them on there, that's.
Any questions about any of that? More to come, I hope.
I like getting grants.
Well, I see we have an executive session, so do we wanna set the date for the next meeting, February?
February 4th, I believe.
I don't know, I haven't looked at my phone.
February 4.
When's the next policy
I won't be
meeting?
here anyways.
February 4th.
So policy at 4:30?
Yeah.
Unless I wanna stay up at midnight and we can, FaceTime it.
I don't mind talking, but not FaceTiming with you.
Yeah. Well, the meeting.
We can do almost anything, Mike, kinda you need. You could probably share.
Well, that means I have to
Germany
stay up
with
till
us.
1 o'clock in the morning though.
You probably
6
will a couple
hours?
of times anyways, right?
Yeah, 6 hours difference, yeah. Yeah.
We could keep you up all night, Jimmy.
What's going over there that first week, it's probably gonna be late nights.
Adjusting to the.
No, I don't think, it's never been that bad for me to go over. It's the issue of what we have going on that week is gonna be late nights.
Now what?
Okay, so, we are going to have a motion to go into executive session, thank you all for coming.
So
Make a motion, we have the executive session.
All in favor?
I guess I just step pussyfoot around that, you know?
Get laryngitis?
No, we didn't
Yeah,
say much,
pussyfoot
believe
around
it or
that.
not.
Oh, I
Gary?
No,
I'll leave a check with your mom.
It's kinda like,
Okay.
Which one?